As gaming continues to grow as the years go by, with higher budget games, improvement in technology, and more people playing games, it's cool to think about how much games have changed since maybe the first game you've played, from early pixelated 3D models to graphics that borderline real life. But although technology has improved, that doesn't necessarily mean that the game is inherently better. There are still so many classic games that hold up extremely well to the modern standards, like classic 2D platforming in Super Mario World or the art direction of the original Resident Evil 4. What makes games as special as they are the emotions and stories they convey. The ways that the games try to immerse you into their worlds, from lore-filled worlds to captivating stories to just fun gameplay. Those are just some ways games can get to us, and every time I reach the end of a game that I really enjoyed, I just get this feeling that I know I won't ever be able to experience this game the same way again, and I don't want my first playthrough to end just yet. This feeling is something that we would call Postgame Depression, even though you haven't technically finished the game when you get it. It's the feeling knowing deep down that this game has had a lasting impression on you, and as much as you want to experience that game again, you just can't, because you already know what's going to happen. But why do we get this feeling? Is it the journey that we went on in the game, or could it have been the music in the game that resonated with us? And to be perfectly honest, the answer is just simple. If you really enjoy something, you just don't want it to end. Since games are interactive, we also get a sense of control that we have helped build up to this moment by interacting in the game world, like getting a secret ending or defeating a hard boss. Those show the skill and effort that we have put into the game, but rewarded with the fleeting moments of joy that can have lasting effects on us. Typically as well, we don't necessarily have control over how long good moments in life can last, as the variable in life are made up by the many actions and lives of others around us, making it just a bit easier or harder to deal with when they pass by, as they force us to change something and keep on moving. But with games, the only factor affecting it is ourselves, or if the devs shut down an online server for the game, but that's not the point. When you reach the end of God of War, or a Zelda adventure, or the final area in Metal Gear Solid 3, you can, with all your power, turn the game off and leave it like that. Why? Because you know that finishing the game will bring your journey in that world to an end. Some linear games like older Zelda titles or Final Fantasy games really stir this emotion in me. I know I was going to finish the journey, but I put them on the shelf for a long while before deciding that I just can't let this go on for a long time. So I finished the game, gave the game a round of applause during the credits, and just thought about this journey, the stories told, the themes conveyed, and the experience as a whole. I don't do this for many games, but for titles like The Last of Us Part 2, Metal Gear Solid, or Super Mario Galaxy, those were games that I keep thinking about because the journey I had with them was so meaningful to me, and although I feel a deep sense of nostalgia in a way, wanting to experience them for the first time again, I'm happy that I completed them. I remember beating The Last of Us for the first time during quarantine. Although I knew the ending from videos I'd watched about it years before, it was quite a sad yet beautiful moment for me. Joel and Ellie's journey across America was extremely well written, with lots of ups and downs, but their bond being able to flourish in such a story was powerful. So when I rolled credits late at night and close to the release of The Last of Us Part 2, I think this game, at the time I played it, made me appreciate Part 2 that much more. I also remember beating Tunic last year in a hotel room, having brought out my notebook to solve that final puzzle in the game, and beating that tough final boss. With the incredibly stunning soundtrack, also late at night, was incredible. I was sad that I would never be able to play Tunic the same way again, but once again I'm happy with having played it, and really I recommend anyone to play Tunic. But there are other games out there that make the final push to finishing them harder than they should be, and I'm talking about open world games, or games that have so much side content that extend your stay in the world, so much so that you can push the final mission as far away as possible. So many times in open world games, you get this feeling that you're in the end game, either by how high the stakes feel, or the game just outright tells you that you are going into the point of no return. Once this feeling kicks in, you get the same feeling that I mentioned earlier, depending on the game, of not wanting to finish it. But in these bigger games, with more stuff to do, you can just outright avoid the ending and try to do as much as possible before you just come full circle and realize that you're going to have to finish the game at some point because you can't keep running away from it. Elden Ring had this effect on me. Elden Ring is a wondrous game, from its boss fights, world, lore, and everything. It truly is a massive accomplishment in gaming, and once I'd gotten to the final boss fight, or the area right before it, I just left. I did not want to finish the game at this point in time. I did not want my stay in the lands between to end at less than 100 hours, when there was still so much for me to explore and see. So I went out to see more of the world, explore areas which I had not yet seen, even after many dozens of hours. But after all the adventuring, I found myself before the path to the final boss once more. I knew there is still so much more out there for me to see, but the time had come for it all to come to an end and close my chapter of Elden Ring. Until the expansion eventually drops soon, hopefully. But this doesn't just apply to long games, but to short games as well, through completion. Short games have lots of way to increase playtime, and if you really enjoy the game, spending more time in the game can help you appreciate it a lot more than before, by either playing through a 2D platformer as a brand new character, which gave me tons of hours of more playtime in Sonic Mania, or new builds in a roguelike like Hades. By switching up the foundation of the game and giving it a new coat of paint, so to speak of, it can give you a newfound appreciation for the design of the game, helping create that extra spark of connection that you might end up feeling. This is also why Armored Core 6 is the only game that I have ever 100%ed on PlayStation. The endings and branching paths, new builds that make certain sections harder and others easier, trying to find the best route in each mission to get the S rank, all those things added in the form of trophies, on top of the already incredible base experience of the game, really made me fall in love with the world of Rubicon 3, and I hope that we get some new Armored Core game in the future, because man, was it amazing. And that brings this video to an end. There is no real conclusion I have to make, because it just comes down to the pace you want to complete a game and how long you're willing to hold on to a game before realizing you have to let it go. All the games I've mentioned here are games that I can see myself playing in the future, either for short bursts of fun or complete playthroughs again, but in reality, when I play through them again, I'm not actually playing them. I think it just ends up being a trip down memory lane, a playthrough where I'm not playing the game, but a playthrough where I'm going through the motions, thinking about the great times that I've experienced in these games. Maybe I will get a different ending to change up the flow of things, but in the end, nothing will be able to replicate that first playthrough. So, if I have to end this video in some form, I would say, take your time on your first playthrough. Don't try and rush to the ending, because you never know how quickly it can just pass by before it's just gone. And with that, welcome to the end of the video. Thanks so much for watching, and I really hope you enjoyed the video. But let me know, what are some of your favorite games which you didn't want to end just yet and you want to just extend your stay in that world a bit longer? Leave them down below in the comments, and a like if you enjoyed the video, or a dislike if you did not. And if you want to see more from me, a subscribe comes a long way in helping the channel out. A lot of you might be busy with games today, or this weekend in general, since we both get Mario and Spider-Man dropping today, and you bet that I'm playing those alongside Sonic Superstars, which dropped earlier in the week. With that said, that's all for me. Thanks again for watching, and have a good rest of your day, night, and week. And with that, Storm out.